Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Barry Humphries. "50 years. It's been quite a journey, hasn't it?"
Well, it's nearly 50. No, well, I guess my first university show was about 1953, so that's...
It's pretty close to 50 years.
50 years. I was on the stage of that theatre the other day in Melbourne, the old Union Theatre. And it was extraordinary. The dressing rooms were much the same, rather like the dressing rooms at Channel 9.
Not a lot changed.
So it is a long time, and it's been a very enjoyable journey.
Take us back to Melbourne growing up in the 30s and 40s. What are your strongest childhood memories?
In my childhood, the way we mostly spent Sunday afternoon was going for a drive. It was the big thing. And it was to see the lovely homes. And we would drive around the new suburbs of Melbourne and look at these extraordinary dwellings, all in their own little plot of ground, all with their English trees, gum trees, and anything native had been meticulously uprooted. The silver birch was the genteel tree, just like the gladiolus was the flower. Everyone had a silver birch. They were pretty frail to begin with, and later on they became rather gnarled and knotted.
And you painted from an early age?
Yes, from an early age I was always interested in painting. In fact, I thought that if I could ever pluck up the courage to break the news to my parents, I would become a professional painter, artist. And I still paint for pleasure and on my travels. And it is the one pursuit of mine that gives me the greatest exhilaration.
You were a prodigious reader too, I believe, until your mum gave your books away.
To the Salvation Army, yes.
Why did you do that?
I came home from school one day and I found my bookshelves were empty. And I said to my mother, "Where are my books?" She said, "Oh, the nice man from the army took them." Now, I thought, of course, since the war was on, that it was the army, you know, the Australian infantry. But, in fact, it was the salvos. I said, "But look, they're my books," I said to my mother, and she said, "Oh, but you've read them."
Good point.
There was a kind of maternal logic there. I had indeed read them, but I wanted to read them again, and the rest of my life, really, I've been trying to find them. I go to second-hand bookshops, not to find the exact book, but a replica.
Did you have a favourite?
I had a favourite story, which was called Honey Bear, which I liked very much. It was a sort of Canadian children's book. I've replaced it, but at huge expense. The children's books of the 1930s now fetch enormous prices from collectors. So my mother really gave a lot of money to the Salvation Army.
What did your parents want you to do with your life?
My parents wanted me to be better and richer than them. It was
As
hoped,
indeed,
I'd become, indeed I am. And it was, it was hoped that I would become a builder like my father, but better still, an architect. Luckily, my younger brother, Christopher, has fulfilled that dream.
I want to talk to you about how you do what you do. I mean, when you're getting into one of your characters, let's say Edna, when you're putting the makeup on and what happens? Is there a moment when you go from one to the other, a switch clicks, or how does it happen?
When I'm sitting at the dressing table,
okay,
and I'm transforming myself either into Les or Edna or Sandy or whatever I'm doing, there's the moment of, do I have to do this again? Why am I still doing this? Why can't I be having a swim or going or traveling or enjoying whatever else? Why must I be a slave to these people out there? You know, this theatre, uncomfortable, it's drafty, it's cold outside, I'm not feeling too well.
It's scary.
And it gets a bit scary. And then there's a point when instead of seeing myself in the mirror, I see someone else. You cross the invisible line, and I realize that I'm not having to do this anymore. I can go home. Edna's going to do the show. Or Les will take over. Or Sandy, in his own touching, ghost-like way, will be rambling on about an Australia that no longer exists, except in the imagination of some extremely old and decrepit people.
When you're working, when you walk on stage sometimes, as Edna, let's say, You walk on stage in the outfit and the wig and the frock and the glasses and the whole thing. Does Barry Humphries ever say to himself, what the hell am I doing here?
No, no, no. I feel a strong sense of responsibility to my public. These people are there because they enjoy my work and they need cheering up. There is nothing nicer these days than being in the cheering up business. It's the best industry to be in. It's the one with the most future, too, I would have thought. I found that in the States very recently because I was playing in Washington, Philadelphia, and in a lot of East Coast cities at the time of the build-up to the invasion of Iraq. And there was tremendous fear and anxiety in the public's mind. And they flocked to the theatre because it's an escape, of course, from the unbelievable horrors that seem to lie ahead and possibly still do. And it was also a communal activity. It was a positive thing. I do also sometimes feel that whatever private difficulties I might be having, and I'm not immune from those any more than any member of my audience, that once I'm on stage, I'm alone. I might be in the presence of a large audience, but I have actually stepped onto a stage, heard a big ovation, and thought to myself, alone at last. I guess that'll be my epitaph.
Keith Richards from the Rolling Stones had a similar story. He said when he's on stage playing, it's the only time there's any peace and quiet.
It's exactly what I'm saying.
It's similar, yeah.
I didn't know he had those such coherent thoughts.
How important and how difficult was it to crack America?
I did a season in New York off-Broadway in the late 70s, which failed. It wasn't the right time, you know. It wasn't the right theatre. It wasn't just, the time wasn't right. And I waited a quarter of a century. It's a long time to wait.
Sure.
And now, of course, I could continue to work in the States. But naturally, you know, I feel that this is my background, this is my country, Australia, and it's 4 years since I've done a new show in Australia. So I thought it's absolutely time to do another show, and I'm really just waiting for all the people who came to my early shows in the 60s to die. And then I can use all those old jokes. Because you say to yourself, and I said to Harley Metcalf, my impresario, I said, oh, well, you know, it'll be, he said, well, is it going to be all completely new? I said, yes, it will be completely new, though I'll be tempted to fall back on a few things, because I find that people say, will there be the Gladys? Well, of course there will. But there'll be new Gladys.
How long are you going to do this for?
This season is quite a short one. I mean, it's a brief tour. But how long will I continue to work in the theatre? Oh, forever. Even when the audience is saying, isn't it tragic? I will be there.
How do you cope with criticism?
Not one. Who does, you know? Adverse criticism. Yeah. I don't get it very often.
No, you don't.
And usually, you know, it's understandable because it's mostly from total idiots, you know.
What's left to do? Do you set yourself challenges? Do you have...
Well, I'm doing a lot more painting now. I had an exhibition of my paintings in Brisbane, which was successful. I like doing it. It's a kind of a... And books, I like writing.
Cathartic, writing autobiography?
It is very interesting writing about your life because it's endlessly interesting. And it's not like a novel because you know what's happens at the end.
You know it's going to be a happy end.
You know the plot. At least you know the plot of your life. Everyone's life is interesting. I mean, I would like to read the autobiography of every person in this studio. They would all be dramatic, funny, touching, and passionate. The levels of literary ability would vary from bad to abysmal. But But it's very, very interesting all the same. I can see my hair in the monitor. We're going to have to start again. But you see, I'm going grey later than most of my friends. Nearly everyone I knew at school and university is retired. I don't understand it. People sometimes say to me, how do you do as much as you do? And I say, how do you do as little as you do?
It's been a great honour and a pleasure to do this with you today.
Well, it's been extraordinary, hasn't it? Edna had a very nice experience not long ago in the theatre in America when she was talking to a lady who attracted her attention in the second row, and she said to this woman, and what do you do, Possum? And the woman said, well, I'm a psychotherapist. And there was a noise. The audience made that sort of note of, ooh. It was like saying, witch doctor. Ooh, you know, someone who knows everything. And Edna was chatting to the woman for quite a while, and then she said, now I must say something to you that I've always wanted to say to a psychotherapist. And the woman said, what's that, Edna? Edna said, I'm afraid we've run out of time.